Welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. And this week, Hollow Knight has some super sweet DLC headed to your face organ, and best of all, it's priced at the low price of free. And our favorite game series, Sam PFE, turns out it took a trip to Vulkan. Much to Jordan's chagrin.
Now, Jake, can you show me on the doll where the Crimson King touched you? Well, Red Hook might have some insight. And Steam gets flattened, but it might have gotten a little too smooshed.
Well, Steam now lets you rent anime. I'm not entirely sure anime was a mistake in this particular case. And Katana Steel and Rohitten have been hammering on LiveTech. They've also been trying to make it work on the Linux.
I'm Vince Stu, and here at LGC Actual, where everything is on fire, joined by Fred. He's holding up that famous Fook wall. Doing all the bits on Linux, switching that. It's kind of fun. A little bit shaken, because we had a rough start, ladies and gentlemen. But joined every week up north in our Canadian office. That is one master.
Everything is also on fire.
And a place that was actually on fire last week at his Space Portugal and one page from Mateus.
They finally have it. Well, it's not out yet, but they finally have it under control, hopefully. Who knows?
And together with your help, Shanrealm Dynamic joining us in the Patreon Discord and IRC General, helping us form that last little bit, that most special bit. It's Cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we like to see what's going on in each other's lives. Gentlemen, I bought a new set of cans. They're a thing, and the Steam Link went on sale for a hot second for like 15 quid. I bought one. It hasn't got here yet, and I'll probably never take it out of the box because I'm pretty sure they're never going to make any more of them, and I kind of just wanted one at that price. It was a bit of an insta-buy. What's up, J-Baby?
Well, I got myself a new Chinese iPhone knockoff that actually has decent specs and runs Android, so that I got that going for me. There was a bit of an ordeal coming around to rooting it, but that's a story for. I'm gonna never get to tell that. I'm just gonna take that one to my grave. What about you, Pedro? I assume in your non-on-fireplace everything is fine.
Well, I'm going to plagiarize a bit of you because I too got a Chinese iPhone knockoff. It's a Huawei P8 Lite. Octo-core, 1.2 gigahertz.
Octo-core, you gotta get that 10-core, man.
No, 170 euros? Are you kidding me? No way.
that was about what I paid for this.
Pretty good.
I mean, get on my 10-core level. I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the overheating that my cell phone is doing because it has too many CPUs.
Well, one thing that definitely pays every week, nay, it pays the iron price, is our horse.
Yeah, I think we've beaten it to the point where it's actually pancake flat. It's like a crepe, which gets Strider really excited. It's the Steamworks update.
Oh,
All right. So everyone loves Flatpak. It's the #1 alternative to snap packages, which is the future of all software packaging, don't you know? Ubuntu's taken over the universe. Some lovely people have gotten Steam running in Flatpak. And to get around some of the GPL licensing issues, what it does is it creates an empty container and then runs the Steam download process and sets up a little Steam in there. So I tested it out on a virtual machine because I didn't have time to set it up on the home box. On Fedora 25, it gets to the point where Steam unpacks the runtime and it's like connecting to Steam servers and then it errors out. So, I mean, it's a good start, I guess. I'm actually curious how it handles like downloading games. Does it like download everything to like the Flatpak controlled area, or does it set it up on disk? Because I know with some of the Flatpak, say GIMP or blenders, it'll actually throw things on just your non-sandbox disk. I don't know. I didn't get to the point where I could actually try it. What about you guys? Do you give this a shot?
One of the big things, no, I didn't, but because we all know Snap's the future. Hell canonical.
Obviously.
But Pedro, what's the advantage of a Flatpak, say over a PPA?
Well, the Flatpak provides sandboxing. Minor sandboxing at this point. They don't have as much work put into that particular thing as Snap has. because Snapcraft is actually slightly ahead in that department. But it's just a way of having everything confined inside a container. And let's face it, Steam at this point has a lot of baggage to it. And I am kind of curious to what Jordan mentions, like, where is it putting the games? Because I didn't try it, because the moment I saw the article, it's like, oh, you need to add the PPA, then install. No.
Yeah. See, you don't need to do that under Fedora, because all the Flatpak libraries are in the repository, along with Snap, interestingly enough. But yeah, the other advantage is there's like this whole deal where you have to package Steam for every single operating system. If you have it in a Flatpak, that means that theoretically Valve could pick this up and say, "Hey, we have our own Flatpak thing, just run it, and doesn't matter what operating system you're on, Steam runtime."
It does, in fact, take care of most of everything, assuming, of course, the Steam runtime works, because, as Valve has done in the past, they have set Steam to prefer the system libraries instead of the runtime. Now, that has fixed some of the issues that they ran into with the open source drivers, especially. Some games weren't even starting if you had the runtime enabled. So it remains to be seen. Well, Jordan actually tried the Flatpak and it didn't work for him. So if you watching us right now or listening to us in your podcatcher, let us know. Send us some hate mail. We'd like to know whether or not the Flatpak approach works.
Yeah,
so
man. Check this business out. Introducing SteamVR Collectibles. Do you got to catch them all? I mean, what's the deal here?
Well, they kind of want you to catch them all. This is the SteamVR Home. Valve has implemented sort of it's like the VR analog of a desktop. But instead of being just a desktop, it's an entire house that you can walk around. And there's a Steam Workshop where you could download like custom houses and everything. And you had some very limited choices as to what you could do in the VR home, but now they're adding collectibles. They got in touch with a bunch of different game developers, and they're teeny tiny collectibles that you can use to personalize your Steam VR home. Why you'd want to do it? I don't know, but I guess it is very much for the completionists or the people who are really into VR at this point.
It's clutter is what it is. It is 100% just, hey, guys who have already bought your Vive, we're going to give you something to like justify your purchase. You can go and collect things and add to your virtual household that no one's going to visit because like I'm sure the completionists will absolutely love it, but the problem is this is not going to entice people to dip their toes into the VR market. The people who this does engage have already bought their Vive. That's it.
Yeah. And I guess the customization.
Here's my question. Are these going to cost money? I mean, this is like Second Life Mark II, or?
I think that's like the entry cost is just the Vive itself, right?
Basically. And I don't see them charging money for this. Maybe you have to own or have the games in your Steam library so you can have the collectibles available for you. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah,
that's an interesting segue, though, because apparently the Vive is also on summer sale with you get a $50 Steam card. All right. Yeah, man, check this out. Limited time offer, $7.49 plus free shipping. It's a $9.28 value. Go ahead and yoink them all up because they're getting ready to release Gen 2. That's a brilliant idea, right?
Not backwards compatible and everything.
You should never install Gen 2, man, unless you want like 5 hours of compiling stuff.
Mm.
No, I mean, like, if you're on the fence because, it's expensive, it's $200 off, that is something. But yeah, no, with the motion tracking thing we covered a couple weeks ago, all the Gen 2 shit is not going to be backwards compatible, no. Well, it will be, but all the existing shit will not be forwards compatible, rather. That English, Jordan.
Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, no, it's still $750 for what amounts to basically a toaster that face fucks your eyes.
I don't know. We're going to have to get Empty back on the show now that he has a fully formed and operational YouTube video maker. We just need to put a webcam somewhere in his room, just watch him annihilate himself and see what his experiences are. Something that will work eventually on the Vive is Serious Sam PFE. Flat version released because the VR version is not ready yet. But yeah, this actually came out Friday, right? Mm-hmm. It did. They made some changes to the game, so everyone is having a refest and discussion saying, I can't believe this has changed, and other people are like, oh, this is great, and all this. Even our favorite Croatian psychopaths clearly expect there to be bugs, and it's like, oh, okay, we will. Now, this is what I love about it, because we've really wanted to see. We've seen what Crow Team can do with Vulkan. Mm-hmm. On the Talos principle, but let's be honest, the Talos principle could almost maintain 60 at UHD with the OpenGL render. We wanted to see what Serious Sam PFE, which, older game, like 6-year-old game, still graphically intensive, looks pretty good. Well, the best way I can describe it, running on the 8150 clocked at 4 gigajoules with a 980, in all fairness, which is nowhere near the latest and greatest these days. You know how you can play like Half-Life 2 or Left 4 Brad, and you can just have everything yoinked over to the right, maxed out. You can even run it at 3840 by 2160, and it's like your PC's mocking it, it's just slapping it around, giving it the business. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's exactly what the Vulcans did to the once previously chuggy PFE. Pedro, I heard you had a hard time getting it to drop below 100 when previously, if you hit 60, you were feeling kind of good about yourself.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get it to drop below 100. I literally went to the performance tab, set everything to ultra, then went into the graphics tab and manually increased everything that didn't max out automatically. Played through the first 2 levels, never dropped below 100. That's pretty good.
Yeah, because I'm not touching that game until I'm literally being paid to do so. Check us out at patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. On the benchmark, I was getting anywhere from like 52 to 70 FPS at UHD with everything cranked up, which is really impressive, all things considered. Like, again, that's like some Borderlands style shit with their OpenGL optimization. It's still not making me feel better about having to play this game once we hit 200, though. No, no, sir.
Well, maybe you'll be more excited about this, because, yeah, man, it's not
bogus!
It's a bogus detour. These medieval dickweeds have delivered a top-down version of Serious Sam. We kind of talked about it coming out, but now it's actually prepared and simmered just right for your face organ. Coming in currently 10% off as part of the sale. Regularly $14.99 wet stinky caches. Online multiplayer with, what was the limit? 4 in what?
In co-op and campaign, yeah. But if you're doing deathmatch or survival, it goes up to 12.
Up to 12. Okay.
Okay, so that's an improvement, because this game is it's published by Crow Team, or Devolver Digital in this case. But the developers are the developers of
Hammerwatch.
Hammerwatch, yeah. Which was a game that I always liked the concept of. I could never really get into it, and it did very much have multiplayer, but it was limited to 4 people. So it's good to know that they managed to get around that and actually support more for the survival.
Every time I see Hammerwatch, I immediately think of Hammer Fight, that game where you just like flail your mouse around until the other opponent dies.
I definitely remember that game.
It always takes me a second.
It's like, I don't have enough desk to play this. I never went back and played it. It was part of a Humbly Bundly way back in the day.
Yeah, one of the first ones.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, never could get into that business. All right, Pedro, you got to help everyone out, because we're about to talk about anime on the Linux Gamecast.
Sugoi!
Yes, we are. Why are we talking about anime? Because it's now available on Steam. Yep. Steam are actively trying. That's the reason they're not offering like Netflix, native Netflix on the big picture mode or anything the sort. They want to become the media providers. So they got in touch with Crunchyroll, which if you like anime, chances are you've heard about it. Because it's a place where you can go and watch anime. It's free. You can watch like old stuff for free, but brand new series, they'll put it behind a paywall for a time. So, Crunchyroll, seeing as it's one of the last few websites in 2017 to still require Flash, what the fuck, Crunchyroll? Well, now you can watch it on Steam with the Steam video player goodness that I honestly I watched that.
Is it based on Flash? That's what I want to know.
My first question is Steam Video Player, but can you watch it on mobile? Because let's face it, most people don't have Steam boxes laying around. If they're going to watch this stuff, they probably want to watch it on the go.
Yeah, and at that point, you just go to Crunchyroll itself. Let's be honest. I honestly don't know if they're going to update the Android crappy app that they have to support video playback outside of the game trailers.
Never. That thing is 100% a shopping cart / 2-factor authenticator / hack trading service. Yeah. I mean, so yeah. Hell, they actually have a couple series I recognize on here. But here's my thing. If you want to watch the anime on Linux, there are better ways than doing it through Steam. But you gotta diversify your diet, man.
If you don't want to, install Flash to go on Crunchyroll, or you don't want to resort to your local video store, and you don't mind paying for the rental because you're not acquiring the series, you can't keep them forever and watch them whenever you please, this is a rental system similar to what Steam was already doing with those Lionhead Studios movies. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a better love story than Netflix's anime selection because it's... All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's got to be honest. Hollow Knight, Free Contact Pack, English Vin, Content Pack 01. I love that. That makes me even happier. So this is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not kidding. I love me some Hollow Knight. I have put over 40 hours into it. I actually made a weird involuntary squeak when I saw this. Because, for free, we're going to get 2 new bosses, a new stag station, and this new enhanced fast travel business. So, yeah, Hollow Knight Hidden Dreams. This is coming out in the beginning of July for all players. And I, for one, I'm just full of squee. I was kind of terrified that I wasn't going to make it for the show. I was just going to explode into a cloud of pink dust.
I was going to say bees, but I guess I don't really know what's inside you anymore, Ben. Yeah, no, more Hollow Knight's a good thing. Like I said, I'm waiting until I'm unemployed next before I dive back in there, because that's gonna eat some time.
Well, if people get tired of Hyperlight Drifter, I might start Hollow Knight. That could be a thing.
Well, when it's a fun thing, I'll probably definitely be doing a stream maybe on a Tuesday or Thursday when this drops, just to kind of run through it, because I went full stop on it when I heard, there's because I'm right at the end of the game. I'm like 97% done and I haven't fought the bosses yet. So when this drops, not playthrough, but I'll definitely drop in probably for an hour and just see what's going on, and we'll play around with it. But, Geoid? Frank?
Geoid, I guess, yeah. This is a game that showed up, June 17th on Steam. They say it's a modern, stylish take on old school 3D platformers. Roll and jump your way through unique hazards and mechanics to collect all the golden triangles and silver hexagons. So it's Spectral?
Kind of. Is it local co-op single player? Yeah, I don't have anything necessarily against it. I mean, it looks well done. So
yeah, it does. The price isn't all that offensive. It's currently 20% off. It's $7.99. It doesn't look terrible, and if you like the whole ball game concept, I mean, chances are you probably play like Mouse Ball or something. One of the first. Ball. Yeah, Super Monkey Ball. Yeah, if you enjoyed those games, by all means, go and get Geoid.
Thoughts?
Yeah, just play with your balls. The game. That's basically what this boils down to. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, this is exactly the style of game I hate. I hate Super Monkey Ball. I hate all of their ilk, because it requires you to maintain balance on a virtual plane. That just doesn't do it for me.
Well, what are you just like Full Metal Peter Griffin when he tried to sit in the chair and just broke his leg? Yeah.
Pretty much.
Hey, man, let's talk about the Crimson Fucker.
Oh God, my veins. There's so much fake blood. This is Darkest Dungeon, a game that I really enjoy. Saw me streaming a bit of it. Didn't get to any of the cool content during the stream, though. I was hoping to get a little further. But they have a new expansion out, The Crimson Court, which I keep making King Crimson and Stephen King's The Dark Tower references whenever I see, because I'm a big old nerd like that. But they have a couple new bosses, a new hero class, a new region, the Courtyard. You can get blood now. You can find blood and drink it, and stuff happens. I lost a bunch of health with it. I don't know what that actually does mechanically because I haven't got far enough. Though I think I'm going to stick with Darkest Dungeon for the next couple streams, so maybe we'll see some of that good shit going on. But it's just more of this. It's a built-in Nuzlocke. I love it. Just give me more Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, I definitely said I got a chance because Jordan had some hum in his live stream. We're sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So my first 4 hours of Friday morning was downloading that, fixing it, and getting it re-uploaded. So I watched that 1 hour a couple of times. Pedro helped me out. After watching that hour, which I didn't mind the game, but I don't like the RNG elements and basically everything Jordan likes about it. It's like, I don't like that in the game. But the one thing I was definitely thinking about was, where's the popcorn? I couldn't tell what was genuinely different in this DLC. Now, not that it's overpriced anything, but I just couldn't pick it out. Maybe
there aren't all those many differences from the base game. They changed some of the base mechanics. They actually reduced a little bit of the RNG and say if one of your guys that you use the most dies, you're not immediately boned because you have to replace it with a scrub that you just got off the wagon. They sort of even things out a little bit, so the game is slightly easier. But they changed, the new area. It introduces a whole new area to the game, where instead of having to deal with the torches, you have to use bloodlight, or whatever they call it. The enemies are more, as you'd expect, vampire focused. If you played the original Darkest Dungeon, you probably know what to expect, because at one point during my playtime with the game, I literally ran into Shog Niggurath, and it just killed me.
No, genuinely, it did seem like Jordan, there was a better chance, because I was watching the live stream when you were originally playing it, and there was one, go back and watch the live stream, anyone who wants to see that. It's like, oh, you're fucked. I mean, you were genuinely 6 ways to fucking Thursday fucked, and you pulled it out.
Oh yeah, in the very first stream I did at Darkest Dungeon, or this one?
This one,
it wasn't as bad as I thought. Because I guess they fixed the AI so that if your one guy drops to 0, it actually gives you a turn and like jacks up their dodge chance so that they don't immediately die. Yeah, though that one was a little close. I had the bare minimum number of torches I needed to like do it without gaining a bunch of insanity. It was fun. Go back and rewatch it. I think I'm gonna keep it up for the stream though, because I love that game and it makes for some entertaining shit, at least when I react for it. But for people who don't like paying money for things, you can play some Hitman for free. Speaking of murder, the now completely free IO Interactive have decided, we need to get people on our side, so we're going to release the tutorial for Hitman, the latest one, for free. You can download it. The Linux port is done by Feral. It runs reasonably well. You can play it. There's actually a decent amount of gameplay within the tutorial area, because they basically say, here's what we'd like you to do, but you can carry out this assassination however you really want. And there's a bunch of different ways, especially for like the airplane field thing. Anyways, this is a glorified demo. They say, oh, it's free levels. It's a demo. You play the game, you decide whether you want to buy it or not, and then you buy it. That's really it.
Yeah, I guess ultimately at the end of the day, because there was quite a bit of hubbub about this. Like, oh, look at IO. Nothing against IO. Good on them. Keeping their IP and all that, which hopefully they're going to do some fun, wacky things. But it was definitely just a bit strange, watching everyone heaping praise. Oh, they're doing this great thing for us by releasing this first mission area. Gonna kind of reiterate what J-Baby just said. In my day, I'm old to get off my damn lawn. This was called a demo, and I personally think, Pedro, demos are something that should make a comeback, because it's kind of a fun way to figure out whether or not you need to burn one of your Steam refunds.
Yeah, yes it is. And for the most part, we've seen a lot of demos show up for recent games.
Kickstarter mostly. That's
Kickstarter, but also on Steam, and big AAA games also offer a demo. So that's seeing a bit of a resurgence, and that's a good thing, because thankfully not everyone is like Bethesda that says, oh no, you can just buy the game and then refund it if it's not your bag. Fuck you, Bethesda. Fuck you. But back to IO. They are... it's a good thing. This is literally the tutorial, and in theory, you get a lot of replay value out of that tutorial, because you can finish that one mission a multitude of different ways, even if it's just much smaller, much more self-contained than all the other missions. But it gives you a pretty good idea of what to expect of the game and whether or not the game runs properly in your box. So that's good.
There's also the nice little added touch that some demos don't actually save your progress and let you import that into the main game when you buy it. This demo actually does, so good on you, IO Interactive, for not making me replay through the same fucking sections over and over again. But, it may be a case of too little too late with all the delays from... whatever, transition to Black Mesa, do it.
Yes. You remember the Black Mesa project, where those group of insane people just got together and decided to remake the first Half-Life in the Source engine proper, instead of just the Half-Life Source patchwork thing that Valve themselves did. But if you played through what was available at the time, you notice that the moment you jump into the Zen portal, that's Zen with an X, by the way, the game would just end. So... well, they promised that they would release the Zen levels at some point, and apparently it's been delayed. Again, they've already delayed it like 3 or 4 times that I can remember. But they posted some screenshots. They made a little announcement. It's like, hey, yeah, we got new stuff. It's coming. It's just going to have to be delayed because we're not happy with the delivery that we've managed to put in up to this point. So I guess that's a good enough reason to put it off. And it does look, according to the screenshots, it does look very pretty. I just wish I could.
What they're doing with the lighting looks good, and with the colorization looks all right. But yeah, with Zen, that level is supposed to be all organic and all that fun stuff. And that first comment's kind of a bit spot on. I mean, it does look like a set piece from the little fucking mermaid in a bit under the water, if you want to say that. So,
not enough penis.
Sitting back, and yeah, I mean, if we run this through, Frank here could go run it through the Bullshittertron 9000 with like, well, we're still working on it. So people are still buying it. The money spigot doesn't cut off yet. Early access. And speaking of that, it genuinely does have me wondering just a little bit, lads, when's Steam going to do away with this early access nonsense? Step one, good step one was noping the green light. Maybe not getting rid of early access, but putting a realistic 6 months on it, because I think that's more than enough. Because if your game's good enough to be on early access, it should kind of almost be done, ?
Well, in theory, that was the whole point behind Greenlight. You would get in early on the development and just help mold the game. Of course, people started to take advantage of the whole Greenlight process. The early access process, just like they did with Greenlight. They started to find a way to use early access to their advantage, especially use it as a shield against criticism. Look, we get to sell a game, and we don't have to make it good, we don't have to finish it, we don't have to do a damn thing about it, because it's in early access. It's not out yet. That's the invulnerability shield right there, IDDQD, right?
I don't know, man. I mean, just get a couple things. When Jordan Pup's back in, he was talking about, they're probably never going to get a green early access. It just makes too much money, and
Okay, I'm back. I'm back.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
I died. Yes, the money spigots. That thing that stops my internet from working because of it's clogging the tubes with all the money. God damn it! I fucking said accept. Stupid Jitsi. Anyways, the money spigot is just too much, right? You can sell unfinished products. You can hide behind, oh, it's not finished yet. You gotta wait for our update, and we'll patch things. And you know what? A lot of open source projects are like that. Super Tux Cart has a continuous development model. Distance has a continuous development model. I think they should really just nix the entire early access thing and just say, this game is continuous development. There will never be a 1.0. We're just going to keep building and building and building and building and building. And eventually we'll have something relatively stable-ish that might get released proper, but it's always going to be in this development channel. But if you do want to check out what's available currently, it's going to be about $6. They're saying that December is their do or die time for these Zen levels. I don't know if they're going to make it or not.
We're going to see another delay.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't put money in against that. So, comrade, tell me about this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. This is Cossacks III. I never played Cossacks 1 or 2. In fact, I wasn't really aware that they existed. But Cossacks III is a thing, and they have, the publishers have published an update. Links to this is in our show notes. Sensation. And the entire thing is written in broken English, which makes it even better. But the Linux version is released. They have cross-platform multiplayer. If you're playing this on Linux, you get a whole whack of goodies. You get an additional mini campaign, 2 unique mercenary units, and an early bird badge. There's no time limit on this either, so if you go try it out on Linux, you get the goodies. This is a real-time strategy game with like a bunch of elements. I guess it's sort of like the Russian equivalent of Sins of a Solar Empire, taking place in like Rus ancient times when Cossacks were a thing. And they have cross-platform multiplayer, something that the AAA porting studio Feral hasn't really figured out yet, guys.
Yeah, and Feral, well, to be fair, Feral have been porting games to Mac for a while, and they still haven't figured it out. Cossacks, on the other hand, they say that if you're a Mac user and you're listening to this, hi Mir, how you doing? They say that you will still be waiting for a little while. They had a few issues. But yeah, no, the Linux version is multi-platform compatible. You could get it. It's $10 now. So that's all right if you're into the whole RTS thing.
Yeah, man. Prepare your cocksacks, as they say. Hey, man, speaking of Perpetual early access.
I mentioned this a little earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Distance, the game that will be forever in early access. And they released the Radical update. It's now live on Steam. It's got achievements now, for some reason. They improved custom music detection, and when I went into the games like, custom music, what the hell is that? Oh, right, it's not available on Linux because they only supported MP3s, and at the time, Fraunhofer was still holding the MP3 codecs hostage. That's not the case anymore, so I hope they will at some point introduce the custom music functionality to the Linux version. That would be neat. And another thing they introduced was possibly the worst, corniest, edgelordiest voiceover imaginable. You have an announcer now that whenever you do a trick, it says, wall ride, barrel roll, checkpoint,
multi-kill.
Who the hell thought that was a good idea?
Quake?
No, at least Quake's voiceover was good. The voiceover that they put into Distance is just bad.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah. We got to go back. We probably need to play that on a Tuesday or Thursday and revisit it because, I think somewhere around the 3rd year it was in early access. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to get hands off until you guys get this sorted because, granted, they are still updating the fucking all out of this game. which kind of irritates you when you get really good at something. Then it's like, let's screw around with the mechanics
Level
again.
changed.
Right. Level change, physics change, and all that. And, okay, when it's baked, we'll definitely revisit it. So this would be the end of our horsey segment, but Mr. Foxdog insisted, demanded that we include a certain game.
Major, minor. This is a furry visual novel sci-fi thing. I mean, if you're into that, more power to you. Is it on sale? It is on sale for $8. If it's normal, $20. So that's definitely a thing. They have a Linux version that recently came out.
You know, you got to give him credit,
June.
Jordan. You got to give him credit. In the first 3 screenshots, you know what the fuck you're getting into, man.
Oh no, they're not putting a coat of shellac on it and trying to sell you something that you don't expect. They're front and center. If this is not your bag, don't buy it. If it is, buy it. But I got credit where credit is due. This is one of the few visual novels that actually gives you a choice, because there are apparently multiple endings. So there is some interaction, and it's not just reading a comic book, but with more clicking and anime sound effects.
Well, you know, then again, it's no angels with scaly wings, but I mean, it looks competently done, and it's been reviewed very well. And I don't know, man. I think what we need to do at some point, just wrap our minds around it, because we don't judge a damn thing. As long as you run Linux, you're pretty much good in our book. We need to take a trip to a furry convention, gentlemen.
We will immediately get kicked out. I have absolutely no doubts that is what will happen.
I'm saying we bring cameras. And we do interviews. I mean, just so we can get it in our wheelhouse and be like, all right, that's what this is about. I'm sure we'll get like 9 different versions. But hey, man, if that's your thing.
Can I take one of those plague doctor masks with these, just so I don't smell the sexiness in the air while I'm there?
As someone who goes to Dragon Con, it's probably at worst Confunk times 2 at worst. So. You'll be able to pop in, pop out. It'll be kind of brilliant. And see, Mr. Red's he's going to film it, man. So it's definitely a thing. But I think that's going to close it out.
Yeah, yep. Coming up next, we got Patreon donators, we got new Mesa drivers, and someone cries a bunch.
We are very much shameless. Unless, of course, it comes to that point of the show where we need to promote ourselves, because I honestly can't do it very well, and it's a good thing that Jordan's internet's sort of stable
we
now.
Need to have 4 commercials for an hour-long show.
Let's not do commercials, because
you brought to you by Denny's.
Going.
Yeah, no, the segment's brought to you by Denny's. The food that when you eat it, you hate yourself afterwards, even though it looks really, really good on the menu. Pay us, Denny's. Do it. Do it! I know, but if you want to give us money and avoid watching more commercials than normal, you can head on over to LinuxGameCast.com. Click that support the shows in button. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Look at Empty's face in the top left over there. He's telling you, buy! But yeah, we got Amazon affiliate links. We got for many, many countries. Oh god, that Van Damme ads. That was just really distracting. Anyways, yeah, we got affiliate links, we got magic internet money, QR codes. If you want to send us some Bitcoin, maybe we'll get on that Ethereum or that Ripple or whatever cryptocurrency. Give us money.
Bitcoin would be neat. We need to make sure our wallet still works. Test it out. Why don't you just send us a couple of Bitcoins and we'll find out.
Yeah. There's some PayPal donator links. There's an Amazon wish list. John McNeil bought us some RAM, so he gets to go up on the fuck wall, helped by our buddy Frank over there.
Oh, look at that! I woke up and Frank had his shades on. And it's like, John M, what's going on? Frank's quiet, but Frank left me a little note. He's like, hey man, go check in the kitchen. This is what we found: 16 gigajoules of vengeance. LPX DDR4 Fury. That's going to be going in Tipsy Danger, the new box of business that's going to let us do all types of fancy.
No YOLO lights.
No YOLO lights. I specified no YOLO lights. Empty. all types of new fancy bullshittery that we'll be getting into with the studio upgrade that is for you, for your entertainment. Thank you for supporting that. Thanks for everyone shopping through those affiliate links. Someone's like, how do I do that? Do I got to log in? No, you don't. You just go to the support page, click that, and buy millions of dollars worth of stuff. And that's great because that adds up. Thanks, everyone who's doing that. Everyone on Patreon, we need to thank because Charles Hansen kicked in. New Patreon. Everyone give Charles a hand. Casey kicked in. Everyone give Casey a hand. And Jonah J threw in through the PayPal. And you might remember we had a giveaway. We gave everyone a little extra time last week. We announced this on the Wednesday show. But we were giving away a copy of Slain Back from Hell Edition, which is the new and improved version, which had a decent soundtrack, and there was a game attached to it. Jason Anderson was the winner. J Baby, you have contacted, right? So
yeah, he asked me on Twitter how he's going to get the key, and I told him, give me your Steam ID, add me on Steam, something or other. So Jacob Anderson, if you're listening, don't just send me a DM. I followed me back, do the thing. We'll get the exchange going. Here's the thing I want to know, though. If Jonah J sent us money over PayPal, does he expect us to capture Spider-Man?
Yes. One thing Frank brought up, anybody who wants altercations to their name, or if they want to throw a web zone, or, I can scratch it out, put something there, or whatever. You let me know. If you want a screen name there, we can put it up and make it fancy. Okay, hey, we're done thanking you because you are making this show possible. Let's get in to some news.
Yes, and in true LGC tradition, we start off with some drivers. Mesa 17.1.3 is now the most up-to-date, stable version of Mesa. It's very much a consolidation update. They fixed a couple of bugs. They introduced teeny tiny things. They changed some stuff. I guess the most they say the xlib based libgl implementation is now b-symbolic, thus library symbols will not be overridden by third parties. The RADV driver has received a handful of patches, so if you're using an AMD GPU with Mesa, you now have better Vulkan support on the open source drivers, and the i965 for Intel has seen improved HIZ handling, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. One of the cool things is APUs now will get detected as being an APU if you're using the RADV driver. So that will be interesting because one of the major performance losses is doing the copy from system memory to GPU RAM. And with an APU, it's the same pool of memory. So hopefully there's going to be some major performance games with the Vulkans if you're on the APU. I'm pretty sure, though, that my 7660D, which is actually a 6000 series card, they just relabeled it 7000s on my APU, is not within the supported version range, nor is Pedro's netbook.
No,
hey,
my
right quick.
APUs are
Again, we're horrible at chilling. We've got, for our new Patreons, stick around for the end. Your names are in the credits. Head over to patreon.com. Check out all the awesome, cool new bullshit that you get. We get a couple of super secret things in there. Sorry to interject with that. Pedro, why didn't you just try it on that laptop? I just wanted to watch it melt. I wanted it.
Because it has a C30 APU, and the GPU that it comes with is a 6250, so it very much works on the R600 driver, which does not have Vulkan support. They say that if they have the time and they could be asked with it, it might have it in the future. Personally, I'm not holding my breath.
If you look at the Mesa Matrix, you can actually see that they stopped giving a fuck about R600 in and around the time that RADV got announced.
Yep.
Okay, all right. That's good. Enough about this Vulkan stuff.
Speaking of Vulkan, Crytek, they have an update now. You can now get their source code from GitHub. Apparently, they were having an issue with their own Git server. Apparently, what was it? Git Fusion. Oh man, I'm going through a Git server migration at work, so I know the pain, guys. I empathize. But I mean, it is CryEngine, so I can't feel too bad for it. They are starting to work on their Vulkan renderer because they realized, no one actually wants to use DirectX 12, what with it only supporting 2 things, and also kind of being shit in comparison with Vulkan, which works on all the things. and is slightly less shit. Let's be real. But this just proves this is the reactionary approach that is basically marking Crytek as sort of a defunct engine right now. Instead of attempting to implement these things ahead of the curve, they are saying, "Oh, well, people want this now, so we're gonna re-implement it," which is not a bad strategy. But they keep getting caught into this. It was the same thing with their OpenGL renderer, which we saw in Snow, which was like capped at 30 FPS, 720p.
And you could only do 720p, yeah.
It did not work. It did not work very, very well.
Which we should mention that the Linux version of Snow, I do believe, has been pulled. So,
oh yeah. So I mean, if you want to get that Linux support working, prove me wrong, Crytek. But I'm saying this right now. This reactionary approach is not going to fly. It's not going to get much in the way of people on your side.
Well, it does kind of speak a volume or two, maybe 2.5. I do believe they kind of went full in with the DX12. And if you're going to go through the bullshit learning process, as a lot of companies are doing, to learn DX12 or Vulkan, and we're not saying they're basically 95% the same thing, you're probably going to end up picking the one that works everywhere, as J-Baby was saying. But yeah, they're definitely taking, oh shit, we better start implementing this Vulkan thing, since nobody's really playing around with DX12, and we're not seeing the just amazeballs performance gains with the DX12 even on Windows, Windows 10, that we're seeing what, id's doing with Vulkan and Doom and stuff like that, even on the Windows platform, right?
Or Crow Team, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just jerking them off in the last segment.
At this point, Crytek is the Cry engine itself is pretty much irrelevant, at least as far as Linux is concerned, because they have no games on Linux, and the last few games that have been released that use the Cry engine on Windows are asset flips. The ones that usually belong in the Unity ghetto.
Speaking of which,
oh snap! Unity blogs, new asset store experience. Sexy.
It's the Atomic Asset Store.
Hey man, they've added some new things. I mean, to their credit, I do believe their new quick view and global search will greatly increase the efficiency of asset flippers. It'll get them right on their A game. Unfortunately, most of those are now probably going to end up on the Play Store, since Greenlight is no more. It's going to be a bit more difficult. And Itchy, you'll definitely see them there.
Yeah, itch.io.
But, it's a thing. You don't want to make a game. But, there's legitimate people out there that it's like, hey, I need a tree, a monkey, 3 jars of mayo, and a watermelon with some duct tapes and pliers. So they can head over there and save some time, get the models, and make a really good game. But here's the thing. With Greenlight no more, you gotta kind of wonder. Because let's face it, most of the asset flips, not to Unity's fault, it's just that Unity is, to the benefit and detriment of the engine, is easy enough to learn. It's so simple, an asset flipper can do it. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of people going in there, and then again, you got to assume a lot of the asset flippers were, I'm sure these are on some pirate site or something like that. But with now the absence of Greenlight, do you honestly think that maybe that impacted some of the sales in the Unity store? Maybe?
Maybe not. Because, you don't even really need to pirate Unity Pro anymore unless you're making more than $100,000 a year. Because if you're not, you can keep using the personal edition. It's free. You get all the features. You can buy the assets and make the game. And sure, asset flippers now won't be able to profit off of the stupid amounts of trading cards anymore, because Valve now actually has a process that each game needs to be individually approved in order to have a Steam trading card functionality. So if people say, oh, it's just an asset flip, they will never get trading cards. But fact of the matter is, with just $100 entry fee for Steam Direct, and we know that Valve just outright lied when they said,
"Don't worry, Pedro. What I have is clearly not an asset flip. All the models have mustaches on them."
Yeah.
Hey, that
swap
takes
the
some
palette.
blender skill, by the way. Just no one can just add a mustache. I mean, here's the thing though about the whole Steam store is that these things find themselves on the Play Store anyways, and that's $100.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
really, if you want to get your maximum exposure, that's a $200 asking price. For some people, if they see that they're even going to make $205, they might even consider that worth it. So time will tell. We'll have to wait and see, and maybe Valve will come up with their true AI-backed automated solution. No, they're not. No. Speaking of artificial intelligence, though, the people working on this project have none of it.
No, they have actual intelligence, or not, because they like to watch us. Yes, you may recognize Rohit as one of the people currently in Chatroll Dynamic. He and Katana Steel have been basically going all in our Discord chat, just trying to get Lithtech up to date and working, and preferably working on Linux. Now, it's still not there yet. They are also trying to, according to Renee Schellerup on the show note comments, Katana Steel has started the SDL2 editions, so that's pretty good. And if you're wondering what the hell's a Lithtech and why should I care, Lithtech is the engine that was used to create... let's see.
Well,
No One Lives Forever.
This particular version is based on LiveTech Jupiter, which was No One Lives Forever 2, Alien vs. Predator 2, a couple other ones. It's on their wiki page. The one you're excited about, Pedro, is actually a really, really early version of LiveTech that I'm not quite sure would be supported by
But
this.
as Rohit himself says in the GitHub page, Shogo Mobile Armor Division is one of the games that he's actively trying to get to work. Now, the code from that they're working off of was released with the game code of Tron 2.0, the game. So they're working off of that, and they're trying to get rid of all the Visual C++ and Windows-specific stuff and getting it to a more platform-agnostic situation. And that's a good thing. If for some reason they can get Shogo Mobile Armor Division working on Linux natively, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, No One Lives Forever 2, Agent or A Spy in Harm's Way was actually when I got my original gaming PC for my 13th birthday. That game came pre-installed, and it also came with a jazz soundtrack, which I listened to because that was like one of the few CDs I owned at the time. So it would be nice to revisit it. Maybe some Alien vs. Predator 2 if you're nasty. Just saying.
It's definitely been a fun experience. If you're currently a Patreon, just go to Discord thing. It's like on the first page to the right. You can pop in, and maybe if you just want to passively watch, because, maybe not daily updates, but almost every other day we get some updates of what's going on with that, and some things get hammered out there. It's kind of brilliant. Shogo would be interesting, because I had a flatmate billions of years ago in that future's past that played that, and he was a filthy Windows user. He wasn't even a dual booter. And I remember watching it. I've never went back and looked, and was like, oh, that looks really cool. Never get to play it. It's going to be fucking fantastic if I do get to play it without using wine. But from that engine to the Crown, a flexible game engine. I just wanted to give this one a quick plug because it's new. It does a thing. It makes games, apparently, and it's written from scratch in orthodox C++ with a minimalistic, data-oriented design philosophy in mind. I say the more, the merrier, and it has a level editor, so that's definitely a thing. It has empty engine, or it has physics, animation, and download. Ooh, the ever elusive download feature. But another reason I kind of wanted to mention this is because the download link, Linux, that's it. Deal with it. Android, NDK, that's available if you want to put that out. So maybe go check that out if you want to play around with it. I mean,
yeah, I tried to give it a build. Once I needed to start installing like random Google dev chain things for their Android cross compiler, I kind of said, do it. I got to the point where I got it downloaded and extracted. I'm like, okay, what variables do I need to set and where do I need to install? Fuck this.
Brick Simulator. That's all I'm hearing.
I honestly just had a look at the sprites and said, oh, great, another engine. Right, okay, sure. I mean, maybe someone will do something really awesome with it and just blow my mind, but yeah, not yet.
All right, bow down before the one you slash.
Yeah, this is Nin Slash. I originally compared it to Liero, but it's actually more along the lines of your Awesome Knots. So I downloaded it. It runs. They did the brilliant thing of packaging it in a zip file, so I had to chmod.x a bunch of stuff. They don't let you launch the server from in-game either. You gotta start the server separately. But I got one up and running. I fucked around with it. It's basically like a horde wave type thing where you go around murdering things in multiple waves and you can die and come back to life. It's kind of just a generic side-scrolly action game. It has multiplayer. It's a thing. It's on GitHub. You can download it. Yeah. And that's really it. Oh, one thing it did do. I had the Xbox controller plugged in from last week. And lo and behold, when you started up, I heard and apparently it was just causing my controller to just spaz the fuck out with the vibrate. So it's apparently using SDL2. That's all.
Oh, that's always nice. It kind of reminds me of some of Flibbit's early work with SDL2 and the vibrating things. Hey, it's open source, it's multiplayer, and it's a platform. It's got a lot going for it, huh?
Yeah, it does. I downloaded it. I gave it a try. I went to the server browser. It's like, oh, like 4 different servers, and they're all empty. Huh.
Well,
okay.
Listen, empty can be on a lot of servers at once, man. You don't have to give a shit for that.
Yeah, fair enough. But
sometimes he's even in the game before he joins, which is really, really off-putting.
When you go into a server that has no other players playing on it, you just get paired up with bots. And I went into the Capture the Flag server. It was just, it's Awesome Knots Capture the Flag. And I just pulled out the sword because every character comes with the sword as the default melee weapon. And I just went around slashing everything, and I ended in first place compared to the bots. So I felt good about myself, and I uninstalled the game. Well, shift delete.
Smarter than an open source AI bot. Good for you, Pedro. But Ben, I hear you want to install the KDE Plasma on your Nexus 10.
Oh man, yeah. On any of those x86 Linux tablets are coming out any day, you guys. That totally haven't failed over and over. And TadPad is an on-screen gamepad for Linux touchscreen devices, mainly tablets. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we need things like this on the off chance touchscreen Linux devices ever actually do become a thing. What does it do? I don't understand. It gives you the game controls. You've seen these on your mobile devices. Yes, I also understand they work horribly, but it's better than fishing around for a gamepad. Hey man, TadPad.py. I know somewhere right now Strider's vibrating, wondering what's going on. Python was mentioned. It's a thing, and you know what? I just really wanted to give it a plug, guys.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who actually wants a nice Linux tablet, like a tablet that runs like Fedora or Arch or SUSE or something that I could actually do work on and take advantage of, say a 10-core ARM CPU that is fucking doing nothing otherwise. I approve of this.
Yeah, or you could set it up on a Raspberry Pi with those teeny tiny 7-inch touchscreens that they have, and have it work as a network remote for whatever.
What is this? A tablet for ants? Needs to be at least 3 times the size of this.
Something that is trying to increase its size is ZAD, which I'm frantically looking around for because it's somehow.
Yes, I believe in you. But they're looking for a social media manager. That's why.
Basically, they want someone to manage their social network
Facebooks,
accounts.
the Twitters, the Google Pluses, their IndieDB. You must state that you understand that Wildfire Games is non-commercial, done in its volunteer work, done for free. Hey, man, they just want somebody to help them get the word out. You don't really have any moderation duties, since they pretty much handle that. And the reason they're focusing on this, which is kind of good news for everyone if you've been following this game since I was voicing the original trailers. True story. It's starting to get in a playable state where you can say, hey, let's play ZAD and actually connect and play a game, and both parties can have a reasonably fun time. So if you want to help do that, doing stuff like this, I would never want to be in their position, because anytime you put something like this out, anyone who wants to apply almost 100% of the time is the person that should never have any time. Well, social media is not bad. Maybe I think maybe they're going to go. What I'm thinking of is anytime you ask for a moderator, giving somebody some power, and it's usually the people that want power kind of jump in.
No. See, what you got to do is you got to advertise the position of your DBA to your fans, and then you get the masochist who's willing to say, fuck it, I'll manage your database and forums. Why not? Because that you know for a fact that guy has nothing better to do with his life. Hi, MT. I love you, by the way.
They do say as a secondary objective in the future, they would like to spread to other networks like Diaspora or Mastodon.
That still exists. I know Mastodon is a thing. I was quite surprised. They're like, oh yeah, Diaspora still exists.
Your first job as their social media is walk in and be like, guys, Mastodon was peach. Who remembers peach? Yeah, it was popular for a weekend. No one's on it anymore. And I know there's someone's listening going, but I'm still on it. And
Strider?
Yeah, okay. There we go. Done. And Diaspora, stuff like this. Don't even worry about that and all that business. But getting the word out on that, go help them out if you can. I think it's brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Coming up next, we're going to rock out with our blocks out, because we're going to throw chairs at Mern the Quest. Myron? Murney? Merkin? This game will probably not go platinum, but at the very least, it can get double Myr. This is Mern, the Quest from Beldorak Games. It's on the Unity engine. You can pick her up for around 10 of your local wet stinky currency. What is it? Mern, the Quest is a single-player, first-person action RPG. Get back to the world of the Mern with its silly humor and discover why the night never goes away in this new Region. So it faces the chair acquisitions just like many, many games before it. So it gets the 1 chair if it's garbage, 2 chairs if it's meh, 3 chairs if it's pretty good, 4 chairs if it's amazing. We also got the categories of Doom, mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off, because this thing has a bit of a learning curve, doesn't it, Ben?
Oh, I mean, just a bit, but here's this. How does it run over here on the Ubuntu 1604.2. Whatever it is this week? Box of business 8150 currently powered by 980 displayed at UHD, which don't even try that with this game. It's doing good to stay at 1080p. Here's the dice right out of the box. You know, it's 2017, and guess what? They just released a game that doesn't fucking what's the word? Launch. Yes, launch out of the box. This game doesn't do it. It's never fucking heard of it. It's incapable. You know that, and this motherfucker struggles to hold 30 at 1080p in that first dungeon, and more realistically, it's around 16 or 20 FERPs. Oh, and that's really, really going to grind your gear organs when we get around to the shiny it sounds. But yeah, check this out, man. If you're doing this shit and you're releasing this shit on Steam, it's not early access. I don't know how you didn't fucking test it. Don't tell me you did. 1 chair right in your face.
Yeah. On the Fedora 2464-bit with the i7 6700K and the GTX 980. Yeah, you can't launch this out of the box. You got to go edit the prefs file. Idro has, if you go into the show notes, there's a path to it. in Pedro's section, but you have to disable full screen. You have to, because if you don't disable full screen, what happens is it will start up in a big window. It'll give you a cursor and then nothing. Mm-hmm. And you gotta Alt F4 the game or kill 9 it or whatever. Go into the project file, set it in windowed mode. Don't even set it at UHD because that's just not gonna fly. You gotta set that at 1080p. So I was playing this in a 1080p window in the little big ass 4K monitor. And don't think that once you get into the game, because it will trick you. If you go into the options menu and click full screen, it works until the next time you launch it. At which point you're back to square one. Got to edit the prefs file. Gotta set full screen off. Gotta set the resolution in both places because it will it has this is the UI set resolution. This is the initial launch set resolution. Oh no, boys. This is not how you do shit. One chair.
Yeah, so I've actually been ever since the developer sent us keys, I've been going back and forth with him, just sending him feedback saying, look, it doesn't work. And to be fair, he's been trying to fix things as they show up, but this launch issue happened recently when they updated to the new version of Unity. And yes, like Ballistic Overkill before it, you need to disable full screen at runtime. Just you can go to the prefs file, like Jordan mentioned. There will be a little command that you can run. In the show notes, just Control F full screen.
By the way, you should switch it to VI because I didn't have Get It installed on my system.
But yeah, no. Just Control F full screen and change that from a 1 to a 0. It's pretty easy. Now, once you get in game proper, it defaults to 4 times MSAA. And we all know what MSAA does when we're talking about Unity games. You can't really turn it off because, according to the developer, there were some issues with some of the stuff he made in the game. So the only way he found to work around it was to always have MSAA enabled at all times, and the lowest you can go is 2 times. So if you want to have at least decent FERPs, you need to lower it to 2 times. But over here on the FX 8370E and the GTX 1080, at 1080p with Ubuntu Mate 1604, it gets 2 chairs.
Ugh. So that's 1 chair mixed with working. Not a good start. Shiny and sounds, Ven. Did it impress you with its voxely goodness?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, like most of you are, but if you're watching here, you're going to see what I'm talking about. What does this look like? Well, it kind of looks like a bunch of store-bought assets crammed together. I'm not necessarily... I'm not saying that they are, but I'm just saying that's what it looks like. That, to the game's credit, they're kind of following a theme of, okay, everything's dark. I guess I'll give them that. And it's all flat, not much with the shading, not really anything with the textures. I mean, this looks like a PS1 game that you're playing in an emulator with a, at a higher resolution, basically. Which again, it runs like such ass. But as far as the sounds, it's got some repetitive bullshit humming in the background. Kind of note that right quick. And technically, if you listen hard enough, things do go beep and or boop. But again, this just kind of comes across as like a meh effort, like a lazy effort. It's like, okay, yeah, just looking at the trees, it's the same fucking tree, just copy and pasted to infinity. And there's so much of that tree. Characters all basically the same fucking thing and just the same units pasted over and over and over again. Oh. 1 chair. Fuck this game.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when minimalism can be an interesting and compelling design choice. This is not one of those times. Everything looks bland and the same. The lighting in this game is so bad. I get that it's supposed to be like dark at night, but even with torchlight, it's really difficult to make things out, which gets really annoying too. I got stuck on like that first part of the dungeon because I didn't see, you're supposed to move these things onto these things because they weren't immediately apparent unless you're standing on top of them. So that was definitely a thing. All the characters kind of look like a 5-year-old drawing that has been extrapolated to like a game sprite, which doesn't really do it any favors either. I had my headphones on. There were sounds playing that didn't even really register. I couldn't even tell you what they were. Like that's how little of an impact they actually made. Yeah, it's not very compelling at all. Not really engaging. You can kind of look past it, sort of, but it's no. Maybe go with a more defined art style as opposed to you know what? Let's take the Final Fantasy sprite and make it 3D one share.
Well, outside of Minecraft, this voxely art style has always looked to me completely unimaginative. There was a game called Eldritch, which did the whole voxel, big pixel, squarey art style, but they complemented it with proper atmosphere and few very subtle visual clues. In Murn the Quest, there is no atmosphere. Swinging your weapons about has almost no feedback whatsoever, whether it's sounds or even just the things that you hit. Yeah, there may be some red squares shooting off of them to indicate blood, but there's very little in the way of feedback. Combat just looks and feels very drab. You need to actually keep your eyes along the bottom of the screen to see the enemy HP bar and see how you're doing and if you're going to be able to kill it before it kills you. So if you're forcing me to look down the bottom of the screen, I'm not going to be looking at anything else. And to be fair, there's not much else to look at either, if we're being honest. I can't give it one chair because it technically shows something and it technically makes sound, so 2 chairs.
Yeah, it's still not going to stop it from getting 1 chair there, Pedro. How about controls, though? Do you think it'll fare better then?
Well, you know, I was going to try this with a Nintendo Power Pad, but it would probably have caused it to catch fire. Listen, everything works, the best I can tell, but the game kind of leaves you to figure out, you know, just what the fuck everything does. You know, it just might genuinely make a bit more sense if you Minecraft bro and or sis. But I'm going to get to that more in the fun section because this genuinely made me pull up the keyboard controls. Like, how the fuck do I do half this shit? And Jordan's going to tell you about some of the additional fuckery with the navigation and the menus and all that other bullshit. But it does technically work, and there's a very, very generous 2 chairs, only on the technicality.
Yeah, so, you know, movement is pretty standard, right? You got your WASD, up, down, left, right, BA, start, select. There's a little infuriating twist, because most games you play, when you want to bring up the inventory, you hit the I button, which, I mean, I for inventory, that makes sense, right? No, it's tab, which gets really annoying, because I immediately go for I, then I'm like, oh, right, yeah, tab. And everything is in that tab menu. Your level advancement, your inventory, whatever. And that, I mean, I can sort of get that. That's a choice. Keep everything on one side of the keyboard. I can understand in theory why you would want to do this. What I don't understand is whenever you want to read something, you don't pick it up. You got to mouse over it, and then if it has multiple pages, you scroll up to go to another page. Which is so counterintuitive, right? Because usually scrolling up means going to the beginning of the document, unless you're on a Macintosh, which I doubt these people actually are. And scrolling down means going to the next page. Not the case here. The crafting subsystem here basically devolves to, oh, you got to unlock, you got to go find in the dungeon the person who will make you things or sell you things, and you just exchange things. Or on the odd chance, for, say, cooking or breaking down items, you throw them at an object, and then they magically turn into other things. It's not Minecraft at all. Minecraft has, like, a crafting system. They have, like, a tiered crafting system that has, like, a very interesting dependency map. And part of the game is actually progressing through the tech tree. This has none of it. And especially, like, and I'll get to this in the fun section, but if you suck at the unlocking minigame, yeah, you're going to be engaging with that a lot to get your lockpicks. Things work. They were sort of thought out much in the same way that I think out my meal prep while I'm on drugs. So 2 chairs.
Honestly, at first, there were issues with the mouse, but the developer, full credit, he has fixed those. And the controls, they kind of work exactly how you'd expect them to. You can have your WASD if you want to remap it to the directional arrows, you can. The mouse sensitivity sliders work. So as far as I'm concerned, I have no issues with the controls. I have many issues, but the controls are not one of them, so 4 chairs.
Well, again, doesn't really tip the scales all that much. 2 chairs for controls. Let's put a bow on it. Then, despite all the warts, did you enjoy Mern the Quest for Fire?
First off, this game, I genuinely think this game assumes I have some basic understanding of Minecraft. I don't, Brad. I don't. Secondly, you might want to note those 3 reviews on the store page because they read sketchy as hell, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Free tip from your friendly neighborhood bin. So what do we have here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Well, let me tell you. Best guess, something that kind of it read about. No, it knew a friend who had an uncle that had read about what Minecraft voxely bullshit was, and they took that knowledge, tried to recreate something similar to it, and throw some fucking quest in. That's really all I could gather in my 56 minutes of playtime. And quite frankly, that's 50 more minutes than this game deserved. But hey, it has crafting, so fucking go buy it, right? The only thing I genuinely found interesting about Mern was how you managed to make an octo-core CPU paired with a 980, average 18 to 24 FERPs in that first fucking dungeon. I know why, because I can see I'm getting there. And see what you did. You didn't split it up, because you can see through the fucking walls half the time when it's fucking up like it's going to do. Guess what? It's loading the whole goddamn thing. And this is not a Linux issue. This is a fucking Windows issue. Read your damn forums. All right? That's just bad design. You fucking know it. This is a perfect example. You hear Pedro's like, well, they fixed that and fixed it. Pedro's talking about some basic shit that is built into Unity. You have to go out of your way to fuck some of the shit up in this game that the developer managed to fuck up, that Unity can just do for you if you know just remotely what the hell you're doing. This is a good example of building something, maybe having an idea and just letting Unity do all the heavy lifting. It doesn't bake the damn cake for you, son. Which, I don't even want to say I have truly reviewed this game because we like to put a full 2 hours in at minimum for this. All I've really done is save you from getting hit with a refund, because anyone who picks this up is probably just going to fucking refund it well under that 2 hour period anyway, because it's not there. I went back and looked at your 2D hipster pixel game. That looked competently done. This, I don't know, man. Whatever drugs you're doing, keep them the fuck away from me, and I'm pro drugs. I'm just saying, those particular ones that spit this shit out, yeah, put them back. Bad times, 1 chair.
Yeah, this is a game that has very little in the way of impact, because it's basically just a crappy-looking Elder Scrolls romp through some dark, musty corridors. Sometimes a skeleton appears, sometimes it's a zombie pirate, and you got to kill them. The combat is really, really bad. It's not engaging. I tried, so I picked the wizard build that gives you the... Yeah, you get the potions, you get the staff that gives you the shield against the projectile weapons that no one actually fucking uses because it's all rats and pirates in the first dungeon anyways. And yeah, so you find they give you an axe, and it's like a shitty axe that does 1 damage at a time. There's a dodge skill in here that I got 1 level in from walking through a trap. I don't even know how that happened, because the combat, you basically run up to him. There's not enough reach on your melee weapon to not get in the face of the enemy. It will just stab you back, and then it's just who has the more hit points at the end of the fight. And then you find the room that has a little fireball wand, and you go, okay, yeah, sure, I'll be the wizard. I'll go shoot fireballs at people, and it'll be great. And the fireballs do fucking all damage. They burn through your mana really, really quickly. And you periodically get this notification, hey, your magical weapon skill increased. and it shows up in the inventory page, but I don't see any tangible benefits. It looks like the damage being dealt is pretty much the same, despite the fact that I have 5 out of 11 ranks in it. Yeah, there's speaking of that, there's like the Elder Scroll-esque use-based guild system that seems really tacked on, because again, you don't really know what impact your thing has. Elder Scrolls will be like, hey, yeah, this increases your damage or your snake chance or whatever. This, find out, maybe if it does something. There's like, you can advance your abilities, and again, I don't really see what this does. So, like, the magic thing increases your regeneration. There's a bunch of very circumstantial things. Your stats ultimately don't seem to matter all that much. You know what? I'll give it credit for one thing. I do like the circular-ass interconnected dungeon design. That is a really clever way of saying, oh, hey, yeah, we're going to make the most out of a very small area, and your exploration is rewarded by creating shortcuts. So good on you for some well-decayed dungeon design. Although it is fairly bare-boned and, you know, giant rats and zombies and skeletons. They're a trope of the fantasy genre, but maybe do something a little different. And then it hard-locked my X session. About 1.5 hours in. So I thought to myself, well, can I move my mouse? I could onto the other X screen running on the separate GPU. So I gave that a kill 9, and I went back to Steam. Like, I was about to click play, and then I thought to myself, I don't care anymore. This game does nothing for me. So the really, really lackluster gameplay combined with the boring ass art style, it's hard to find something enjoyable about this game. So I got to give it 1 share.
Yeah, and this is the point where, much like Ven and Jordan, I ran out of fucks to give, because there was an attempt made here, an attempt to make a humorous action RPG. What you end up with is actually a bland fantasy first-person shooter with Minecraft-like graphics, zero feedback as to whether or not you're actually interacting with the world around you, contrived puzzles/quests, very little in the way of humor, and almost no signposting as to what you need to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I've played and enjoyed many games with very little signposting. But in order to, for a game to motivate you to go out and explore the world, it needs to actually let you go out and explore the world. If you start railroading people right from the get-go and stop them from having their little exploration bit early on, they will assume that your game is not about exploration and will expect some guidance or at least a clear linear path to follow. Most games will do that, or they will do the exact opposite. This one sits right in the middle like a deer in the headlights and doesn't really do anything spectacularly bad or really amazing. It's mediocre. And I've mentioned many, many times how much I hate mediocrity in video games, but this one manages to take the cake because I played up to the point where I could not progress any further. I'm 2.9 hours in, according to Steam, and I got to a point in a dungeon where I need to solve a puzzle to open a pair of doors. I can't progress. There's no way, there's nothing I can do that makes it progress. I have almost complete certainty what I need to do. I just can't do it because the game is broken. It's mediocre and it's broken on a technical level. I'm sorry, but this is 1 chair.
Well, 1 chair for fun. Tally that all up. It's very rare that we actually get a straight up 1 chair game on like the Chairquisition. Usually there's something redeemable about this. I have to stretch to find like anything remotely good. Usually I try to find a silver lining. Maybe this isn't my style of game. Maybe someone else will enjoy it because they prefer this genre or something like that. There's just nothing here. What do you think, Ben?
Here's the thing, man. I mean, what normally would save it in a Chairquisition is the ability to start. Launching. Running. That's always seems to be an A+ with people who buy games. You know, call us crazy, call us picky, call us a bit demanding, but it doesn't run. The game starts out in fuck you hard mode. And the reason, you know, all 3 of us, I'm sure before I read Pedro's thing, yeah, we're old Linux users. All right. That's gamification for us. It's like, oh, but then again, we played a lot of games in our years. So we knew, okay, this is Unity. You just know it's Unity when it doesn't launch, even when it does that fucky screen. It's like, take it out of full screen, let's see, and all that going. Again, I kind of knew what I was in. Right when you go down the first of hell, it was like, oh, there's no rope, and you get to the bottom of the well, there's a fucking rope, and I'm like, yeah, all right, this put together. And it has some attempts at humor. I don't know, maybe I'm too old to get it, or maybe it's just not all that funny. I didn't dig it all that much. It's a thing. Again, I don't feel bad about anything I've said about this game because it didn't launch.
Yeah, and there isn't really humor in this game. They try to be self-referential, but that's where it stops. Not self-referential humor. It's not self-deprecating humor. It's just self-reference. And that just makes you look like a ponce, if we're being honest. And if you made your game with Minecraft-style graphics, well, let's just say I don't care.
Yeah, so that about wraps up for the chair acquisition. Don't buy Mern the Quest. Coming up next. Yeah, it's time to get a little barn wild. You know, we're gonna go hog wild. We're gonna get squirrely.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this was a big show.
Big show.
Big show.
Huge. Huge show.
So if during that considerably long time we said anything that you don't particularly agree with, or if you just want to try and troll us and say disparaging remarks about our mothers, you can do so by going to LinuxGameCast.com. You hit the contact button, you fill out the form, it's pretty easy. Make sure you pick LG Weekly from the little drop-downy thing. Fill in the CAPTCHA, and if you're a game developer, make sure to include either a build we can share among us, or at the very least, 3 Steam keys for your game, or GOG keys, or Humble keys, whatever. Just, if we can't play your game, we're gonna make fun of you. Okay. So,
like
this
that
week
other game that we couldn't play.
Yeah. So this week, we only have the one bit of hate mail, and it's not exactly hate mail. It's Caxus. Although it's not spelled
couscous.
It's Cactus. So he says, bought copies of that game for me and my prettier half minutes after seeing it on Linux Gamecast Weekly livestream. Just wanted to say thanks for showing it. Laughed out loud watching you guys play it. And now I wonder how I could not know about it before. Oh, and special thanks to, well, me, who butchered my nickname so brilliantly a few weeks back. It sounded like I'm some sort of shitlord. We speak that CZ as a part like ch in ketchup. Love the shows. Keep up the good work. So it's not Caxus, it's Cactus.
It's couscous. I mean, at least the CZ isn't because that always throws people off with mine.
Listen, I'm just going to call him ketchup from now on.
Ketchup is good, yes. So it's supposed to be a play on words as in catchus, maybe.
But I mean, ultimately, I guess at the end of the day, Foxy, you can, if you're currently a Patreon at level, you can leave comments and you can actually suggest stuff in our show notes. Foxy dropped in. Foxy's like, I am responsible for this. This is all my fault. And
you're welcome.
Part of me wanted to like write the guy back and be like, hey, check this out. Right the second part. He's like, and then my girlfriend broke up with me, taking my child, and didn't have the heart to do that. But no, man. Ultimate Chicken Wars. I think we all should thank Foxy because it's probably not something. It's not Rocket Cars. It's something you want to play every day. And to be perfectly honest, I think Ultimate Chicken Horse. What do you think, Jordan? Do you think it works better online? We have our own thing how we do stuff, but just for regular people, do you think it would work better as a local party game?
I mean, it's just a good party game in general. I think it works equally well. Though I with the caveat that I don't think for us in person it would work well because 2 out of the 3 of us are able to like physically maim one of the other 3. So there is definitely that thing to consider when you're picking your friends to play this with. But yeah, no, it really is one of those games that you definitely require multiplayer for. They added some like basic single player stuff, like you can make levels and submit them and like have your friends play them. But it's where it really shines is like watching everyone fail to like get through the ultra hard level that you put together and realize, shit, we need to actually make this manageable, yet still make it so that other people can die.
So it's definitely one of the funnest parts of it, because everyone's first thing is like, oh, let's fuck the level up and make it fuck you hard immediately. Then once you realize that, yeah, we're fucked, yeah, you definitely go back through it. Oh, what are your thoughts on it, 3?
Fuck you. Honestly, it manages to be a platformer I don't completely hate nowadays, so I guess that's good. But the only reason I don't hate it is exactly because of that social element. Is you play it with people that you have some manner of relationship with, even if it's just people you talk to regularly online. That's exactly where it shines, because I'm pretty sure if you're just playing with randos online, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, I do believe that concludes our broadcasting day, so it's time to cue the music. Isn't that right, Frig? He said that's right. You can always find us around 9:30 when everything is not on fire here in Athens or in Space Canada or in Space Portugal, you name it. We've been through it all. We have all the T-shirts. If you want to talk at me, I'm at Vince Stone on the Twitters. I'm there. I'll do my best to get back to you, or at least read what you write. Send in that hate mail. Send in those questions, especially questions about relationship relationship devices. We need questions on that next week. Plus Vince Stone on G+. You can find me there too.
Yeah, relationship devices. We need to start doing like strap-on reviews for the chair acquisition. Anyway,
that's exactly where I went with it.
Yeah, I'm Jordan Swung, the consummate rando on the internet. You can find me spewing all kinds of nonsense at Twitter at the Burning Pool. You can get on me if you want, but it's a rough ride. Or plus Jordan Swung on Google Plus.
Well, Twitter is most definitely on fire when it comes to Jordan. I, on the other hand, am at unaccounted for on Twitter or plus Mateus on Google Plus. If for some reason you decide to follow me on either of those.
Well, I guess what we learned this week, gentlemen, is we're kind of fireproof to some extent, and it's going to be a long-ass show.
Yeah, have some redundancy built in. This is going to be like an hour and a half long show, man. Strap in, strap on. Or I guess if you're listening to this, you got to the end of it. So, congratulations? ?
We commend you. We commend you if you actually made it this far. And Steve says I am very moving. I doubt that, Steve. I doubt that.
Well, Steve moves my bowels. That's about it.
Steve moving your bowels, man. That's that's a thing. And the lovely credits are rolling.
It's a Steve movement.
So on the according to Down syndrome Edward James Olmos, weird involuntary Squeak clinches it with 8 votes. With Anime Was a Mistake coming in second. Third is a tie between Full Live Squee and Play With Your Balls the game.
Chances are, if you're watching the produced version of this, you already know what the title was.
I think we already killed the recording.
No, credits are still rolling, son.
Oh shit. This is the part of the credits where we're just like making shit up and it's just a bunch of fake names. And it's like, so like honestly, in 90% of my test users for any test case I write is Herp Derpinson. So it's going to be Herp Derpinson the third, Herp Q Derpinson, so on and so forth.
Herp of the derp.
Oh, Civic, I've been lost for a long time. And scene.
Oh god, that took forever. 5 dudes.